unusual now, and that is I'm not going to thank our speakers. And the reason I'm not going to thank our speakers is because your chairman is going to come and do that. I disrespectfully referred to you during the last couple of days as difficult as herding sheep. The reality is I think you've been a load of cuddly bunny rabbits. I'd just like to say thank you to you. It's been a privilege to guide you through this weekend. I hope you've enjoyed it. I'm now going to hand over to my dear wife, who will say a few closing words.
Put this on here. You must be getting rather bored of me by now. Here I am in the last slot of the weekend, when I'm sure you're actually all waiting for your lunch and about to say your farewells to all those you've met during the conference. As you know, I'm chairman of the TMS, and in that role, last Wednesday, I was delighted to have been invited to the most wonderful conference held at the Barbican Centre in London. It was an incredible day. Not only were the speakers of exceptional quality and knowledge, but it gave me the opportunity to find out that there were people from all sorts of diverse ranges of backgrounds, all with their very small charities. Some very well known but small, and others were small, such as ours, and not so well known. Much of the day was given over to making one realise that small in number does not mean small of voice. How apt for our society. Here we are, not quite 10 years old, and yet this weekend we have managed to entice the world's expert on TM to fly across from America purely for us. We've heard from the best of the best in the neurological, rehabilitation and physiotherapy world, plus all the other disciplines. We were able to encourage you, our audience, to come from far and wide, and you've been lively and interactive, for which we all thank you. Very warmly, in fact, we thank you. With the success of this, our second conference, I'm sure we will all feel energised and able to start to tackle the world. We cannot sit back on our laurels and feel that the job is done purely because we have had a good conference. To my mind, we need to move the boundaries. We must now think about the years ahead. Where do we want to be in 5 years' time? What do we want to achieve? How can we help our members best? Where should we seek funding? How do we tackle the everyday problems that so many face? How should we communicate better with you? All these things cannot be solved overnight, but I do have some ideas which I hope you'll feel are relevant. And this goes back slightly to what we were talking about just now about fitness and newsletters and so forth. One of our London group was diagnosed with TM several years ago. She would come to our quarterly meetings and admit, after several that she'd been to, that her symptoms were changing quite radically. So she requested another MRI scan, rather at our instruction actually. When she saw her consultant for the results, she reported that, and I quote, "I went into his room as a TM patient with no help at all, and came out, hang on, I've got the wrong page, and came out with MS. But wasn't it good? Because suddenly I had my own MS nurse assigned to me for assistance." Now we all know, as TM sufferers, that we don't have that luxury. But why not? This is the sort of area we need to explore. Surely it wouldn't cost so much more for an MS nurse to do a little more training and absorb us, the TM patients. After all, we know we're a rare commodity. We'd also love neurologists and their specialist nurses, physios and rehab teams to immediately suggest to newly diagnosed TM patients that there is this TM society waiting to welcome them. That doesn't happen at the moment. But actually, if communications were better, there should be no reason why not. We would be able to pick up often lonely and helpless patients straight away after diagnosis, rather than finding us on a website somewhere down the line. So often I have people who ring me up and say they've never spoken to anybody before. They're tearful, they're anxious, and they're lonely. If only we'd been there for them at the end of their time in hospital or rehab, or indeed during that time. So there's that aspect. Communications with the society generally will be better when we can revamp our rather elderly website. We know it's poor. It's sorely in need of being brought up to date, as I'm often told, and in fact several people have mentioned this recently, and my response has been very firm: once the conference is over, so watch this space. We're very well aware that there are many TM patients who are not only finding life difficult, but quite suddenly their financial circumstances can change dramatically, and occasionally we are asked to assist people. We would like to be able to build up our resources so that we can offer a better structured means of being there for those members. We're extremely grateful for all those friends and family who do outlandish things to raise money for us. There seems to be no limits to the things that they have done to raise money, be it skydiving, rally racing across Europe, or seemingly rather ordinary things of just running a marathon. There are some fantastic friends out there doing great things for us, but we need to do more. There's no doubt that the local support groups around the country are our lifeblood and form the basis of the society. I know from the feedback I get from the groups, and especially from the London group, that friendships formed, the shared stories and experiences are fundamental to them all. How many times have I heard a new member say that they'd never known anyone else with TM until they came to a support group meeting, and now we have found people who understand what it's like and are able to empathise with them. And in many respects, this has been a giant support group meeting this weekend. They're often bowled over by the warmth and good humour at meetings. I'd very much like to see more support group meetings, support groups, popping up all over the country. And it may be that having been here this weekend, you feel inspired enough to think, I could do that. Why don't you find out who the other TM members are in your area and just put on a get-together in a pub, a village hall, a library, or even Starbucks. Just get together. We can supply email addresses to you, and if you found comfort in mixing with people who understand what you've got, please, please do it. We'd love more support groups all around the country. I'm sure you'll appreciate that this conference has been a huge hit on our funds. You're well aware of the fact that it has been heavily subsidised by the Society. We always wanted to provide a quality event which members would be able to attend. It's been particularly pleasing that so many people have attended, but I hope you'll appreciate that we need to recharge the bank account. Some may say that we've been rather too casual by running our funds right down to a very low ebb, but I can assure you that it was a joint decision, not lightly taken, to do so. We wanted to provide you with a great conference. Now, I'm throwing the ball back into your court. You will all have had a gift aid envelope in your delegate's pack. I would urge you to make a donation via that before you leave today, so that we may continue to improve what the Society does and enable us to grow and provide more for you, the members. Perhaps another conference, maybe some welfare grants, who knows? But we need more help. Also, in your delegates pack, you'll be able to find a feedback form. Please fill yours in and hand it to the registration desk as you leave, along with your badges. They were borrowed and the people would like them back. The feedback form is really important to us because without it we cannot judge how well we've done, and we want to know. Carolyn this morning alluded to the fact that she is about to start some work on a programme of discovering more about fatigue and TM. Now, a great number of you were here on stage, but a great number are also elsewhere in the building, and you would have missed out. Carolyn would very much like you to put your email addresses down on bits of paper which you have down here.
They're all here on this table.
If you are prepared to fill in a questionnaire which will take about half an hour, you will be contacted before you are asked to fill in the questionnaire, but this is a program which you want to start fairly quickly. If you would like to be involved, please fill in these forms, the bits of paper down here later on. I'd love a drink of water. Beginning to... Thank you. It's very dry here. Thank you. Your committee started the outline and planning for this conference 9 months ago, and since then there's been a very small team of extremely hard-working, long-suffering and good-humoured people, often burning the midnight oil. We've had so many meetings, I almost felt I needed a British Rail season ticket to get into London. But it's all been worth it, and I would like to thank all those involved on the team on your behalf. They would be very, very embarrassed if I named them all, but they know who they are and they've worked tirelessly, so I would love you to thank them. Without all the support from friends and family on arrival here on Friday, we would have been lost too. So a big thank you to the delegate packers and all those who've done all the behind-the-scenes jobs. We're really very grateful to you, particularly the mic runners who've been all over the place. I've mentioned the speakers already, but I truly feel that unless they had been prepared to give up their free time for us this weekend, we simply wouldn't have had a conference. So huge, huge, unreserved thank you to you all. I very much hope that you've enjoyed the workshops and made good use of all the gadgetry and useful information they provided. Our thanks to them, of course, and our exhibitors. In these last few months, White Rostrum has always been there in the background. I've never organised an event such as this before, so to have the consummate professionals behind us has been a great boost. Nothing has been too much trouble. They've provided us with a relaxed environment, delicious food and comfortable surroundings, which have enabled us to deliver to you the conference, which I sincerely hope you have benefited from. Finally, I'd just like to say, I might not be able to get through this. Finally, I'd just like to thank Simon for doing a great job chairing the talks over the weekend. He can get his life back once again with a wife who will finally be able to sleep, I hope.
Take socks off.
On a practical level, there's no need to rush away. However, they would like us to vacate our rooms by 2 o'clock. Just remember that little thing. Now, I'd like you to all listen to this. Bearing in mind the Society's small beginnings, can I leave you with a little thought from the Dalai Lama? If you think you are too small to make an impact, try going to bed with a mosquito.